Hey everybody and welcome to Ignis Kit. In this 3 to 4 part series I'll give you a short introduction on how to build and later on how to play a SPEEDROID deck. Even if you know how to play the deck already, you might learn something new or something that you didn't know yet about the archetype. I'd encourage you to stay until the end so you don't target the wrong cards in the graveyard during any matchup. During this part of this tiny video series / essay, we will cover the core of the deck, the bare basics of the archetype and what it tries to achieve. The deck itself is very cheap to build IRL, with the only cards above $10 being Baron de Fleur. As a synchro deck, its flexibility is unmatched, but I wanted to make a video series explaining why this pile of toys is to be feared and why you should pick it up. Starting with the card from the top, literally. Although it's the only SPEEDROID card currently limited, it is so for good reason. Teratop does it all, an inherent special summon like Cyber Dragon. It searches half of your deck, baits out any Ash Blossom or interruptions your opponent might have, and it also conveniently does your taxes. The last part is a joke, but man, I wish it was true. It's the perfect starter card, and chances are, if it's allowed to go off and your opponent doesn't flinch or perhaps tries to fake you out with any interruptions in hand, you'll have the green light to extend further and complete your entire combo, as it's essentially the poster child for the archetype, and any duelist worth their salt knows what they're playing against. Next up is Marble Machine. Marble Machine is the worst version of Teratop, but it's still a great starter, not only because of it being an inherent level 2, but also being, as Teratop, the searcher for the entire archetype. Its pendulum effect almost never comes up, but it's quite useful if you're, playing against Lightning Storm and you decide to summon everything you have into defense. Moving on, Takatomborg. Its second effect says, aside from not being once per turn, it can tag itself out for any other SPEEDROID tuners from your deck. It can only be special summoned once per turn through its own effect or by any other means. It enables most of the deep synchro plays that this deck is known for, and is your usual search target of the previously mentioned Teratop and Marble Machine. Okay, next up, Car Turbo, another free special summon and level 3 tuner to boot. A great extender and search target from Teratop and Marble Machine again, but in grave he can banish himself and any other wind monster to boost every face-up wind you control by 800 attack points. It's a great setup machine for OTKs with Chambara and Rubberband Shooter, but we'll talk about these in a separate segment. Next up, as one of the newer support cards that have been recently added, Ultra Hound counts to the best ones. He is a foolish burial for any SPEEDROID card in your deck and can be worked into multiple other combo lines. Hound's second effect can be activated a turn after he hits the graveyard. He recycles a card in your grave to the deck and special summons out a SPEEDROID synchro monster from your extra deck according to the level of the recycled monster. It's really strong for follow-ups and he should never be underestimated. Then Daikaduke is next on the list. He's one of the best cards that you never want to see in your hand. He's a superb target for Takatomborg, and once per turn allows you to special summon out a SPEEDROID tuner from your hand or graveyard. He's the bread and butter for most lines that summon out multiple big synchro summons such as Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Alongside Ultra Hound, as a new addition to the archetype, this is Fudoki Moshi Piper. He on summon reveals the top card of your deck up to the number of other wind monsters you control. And you can add any revealed card to your hand, yes, even non-SPEEDROID cards. Draw into any hand trap or extender for basically free. It is essentially a Swiss army knife. If you're tired of siding in cards game 2 and 3 and for some reason they never appear, this card can basically guarantee that you will see them. If you want to add them to your hand, that's your choice. Just like the rest of this archetype, it too has a graveyard effect. It can reduce the level of any wind monster of your choice by 2 at the cost of banishing himself. Next up is Double Yoyo. It revives a level 3 or lower SPEEDROID on its normal summon, and being a level 4 guarantees a level 7 synchro play, or a potential link 2, making it a solid option even in the off chance you draw into it. Its main use though will be described once we get into the extra deck section. Next up is Malicious Magnet. You will probably never run this card, but it's still funny. It is a kaiju. in essence. You can target a monster your opponent controls that has a level and use it to synchro summon, immediately after Malicious Magnet has been summoned. There is the concept of Kaiju Magnet. It is hilarious, but I wouldn't suggest maining this card unless you're feeling funny. Contrary to it, red-eyed dice is actually being used. It allows you to level modulate any speedroid monster between the levels 1 through 6. Unlike the previously mentioned cards, there is no second effect. And also, unlike all the previously mentioned cards, red-eyed dice is not once per turn, so feel free to go off. We've taken quite some time to look through all these main deck monsters, and if you're still watching at this point, consider leaving a sub, because the next few parts will be released soon, possibly weekly. Moving on. Rubberband Plane can special summon itself when another monster is summoned to your field, except during the damage step. If that happens, it locks you into wins, and if successfully summoned, you can reduce the attack points of any monster on the field by 600 until the end of the turn. It's a goodish extender with an effect that comes up once in a while if you have trouble beating over something. Now, we have reached the end. These are the core monsters of your Speedroid list. Learn to count on them because they'll show how much damage a couple of toy-based cards can inflict life point-wise and mentally, depending if you want to run Kaiju Magnet. I thank you for watching all the way to the end, and if you've enjoyed, obviously leave a like and a sub, a comment down below if you have anything to add on what I just explained, if you already play Speedroids, how you came to play Speedroids, and yeah, I'll see you in the next part where we will cover spell, traps and extra deck monsters. After that, we will look at the basic list, basic core, and the basic idea of how to play this archetype. You've seen me mention the word basic a lot of times. This is not a reference to how to basic, but on how to basically play Speedroids. So, with this out of the way, thank you for watching, and see you around.